Being in a poor family, always figuring out how to ways to steal stuff basically every minute of the day, it seemed like. We quite often stole from the bay downtown regular items, and finally we decided we needed cash. There would be customers coming up with an item, say it cost 59 cents, and the cashier would take out the change from the 59 cents, so it would be 19 something back. And back then there wasn't a partition that blocked the right hand side of the cashier. So the cash till would be open, and she'd count the money to the customer. And while she was doing that, we would come by and scoop all the 20s out of the right hand drawer of the tray.
It wasn't long before Cikor was a well-known name throughout Victoria Park, a small historical district just outside the city center, which was a popular settling place for immigrating Eastern European families, many of which were poor.
I worked downtown doing my crimes. I would start at like the 15th floor of an office building, maybe at say 11 at night, and work my way down from the top floor to the bottom floor till about 5 o'clock in the morning. And on 15 floors, you could probably end up with 60 break and enters. You just broke into every office, took everything that was valuable. Right from the very first calculators, they were very, very popular because they just came out. They were just little pocket things, probably worth $5 today, but back then they were $80, $100. And also you get cash boxes and stuff. And so it was really easy to rack up 400 or 500 charges in a matter of a year or two.
His charges mounting, pressure from the local authorities was quickly reaching a peak. Despite being a juvenile, his one-man crime spree was quickly making ripples at a federal level, forcing the system to offer him all the social support at their disposal.
So the courts had to do something with me. They basically put me to every possible institution that they could possibly imagine, from foster homes to group homes to detention centers to maximum security detention centers. And they wouldn't send me back home because they knew the life was unstable there. They knew my dad had the police called on him hundreds of times for violence against my mom, beating up my mom, beating us kids. And also my mom was a bootlegger. Anybody with this kind of background was always labeled to go to jail for the rest of their life, in and out, guaranteed. They could pretty well bet their highest dollar on it that this was going to happen to me.
Having escaped multiple times from group homes and youth penitentiaries, Arpad lived a life on the run, living on the streets, sleeping in stairwells and parking lots, and stealing.
Because of our age, 12 years old, we couldn't really buy gas. So our best bet was to drive around a stolen car, come back for another one that had gas in it. So I guess when we come back for like our third car, cops were there waiting for us. And we noticed that they were waiting for us. We jumped out of the car, started running down the back alley. And I got about maybe 4 or 5 blocks. And then I ran into this backyard because I could hear him coming up behind me, running, telling stop, stop, stop. And in this backyard there was a wheelbarrow. And I thought, oh geez, I'm not going to get away. I went and threw this wheelbarrow over top of me. And they actually come in the backyard because they knew which yard I went into, and they're looking all around, and I could hear them saying, I seen him come this way, I seen him come this way, I seen him come this way. And there's 2 or 3 of them there, and I swear he came this way. And meantime, I was standing or lying right beside him under a flipped over wheelbarrow, hearing them talk.
It wasn't long before he was caught again, and this time the courts were not willing to let him go as they had so many times before. Instead, they offered the young man an ultimatum: stop committing crimes and they would wipe his record clean, or continue and spend his entire life behind bars.
After hundreds and hundreds of charges, they waived all my charges to adult court, actually put me in an adult jail. as a 14-year-old kid, 4'9", locked up with killers, murderers, you name it, whatever. 2 weeks I spent in there before the Supreme Court of Canada overruled it to take me back out of there and give me one last chance. That's when I stopped it all. And they tried everything, but in all reality, it's the person that's got to decide to stop, quit, change, because they tried everything, but it was me that said enough's enough, and after that it was over, and lived kind of happily ever after, just because we made a good decision and